we'll do is do a quick walk round of the tents. So this is the Duomid by Mountain Laurel Designs. Both my tents are in the Cuben Fibre, well, DCF Camo. That other one is the Duplex. I've just guyed out the minimum stakes, and to get in, you can basically unzip it, tie the doors up either side, or you can just do the half door open. If you look at my Duplex, which is a lot more used, you can see it's went like a quite dark browny colour almost, whereas the Duomid's still quite greeny and shiny. That's how basically the Cuben Fibre ages after a while. So for getting in, what I've got in here is the half inner. You don't undo this buckle and you just zip it up, and then you undo the buckle down here. So that's us with it half undone. That's the vestibule space inside. You can see just the half inner sleeping space, plenty of headroom. This point comes up to the top of my chest, and if we go to the Duplex, this point comes up to the bottom of my rib cage, so about a hand span of a difference in height between the two. You can see how wide that is in comparison. Now to open the Duplex up, slide this and you just unclip these two, and what you can do is pull this taut again and it keeps the one half open. Now this should show you the vestibule size inside the Duplex. When you're actually sitting in this and it's down like that, that's more your vestibule size. If you use the half inner in here, you've got more usable space, almost like a vestibule, but a lot less living space. Whereas in the Duplex, you've got the full amount of space in there. This is basically a single skin tent now, just with a built-in mesh. Whereas in this configuration, you've got a double skin wall tent with the mesh fitted. That's my summer tent. It's going to be drier. There's more ticks. So I have myself, the dog, and all my gear in to keep it bug free. It's a bigger area. You can open up either end to get a nice through flow of air. And it's not as windy, so I can have the bigger sides. In the winter, I've got the steeper slides, the narrower top profile to shed wind, snow, rain more effectively, although both tents do brilliant in that. It's a strong fabric. At the back, I've got my dry sleeping area where I keep all my gear good. At the front, I've got a wet area basically where I keep the wet dog, my wet gear, and I change in and out my wet clothes. Having this bigger space gives me, see, I can come in and crouch down in here. And you know, when it's zipped up, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like it's like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of room, but plenty of room to get in and get changed. And there's the wee sleeping nest. As you can see, there's more tie-out points on the Duomid. So they're different tents for different things, really, but both awesome and both very versatile. So let's go in them. So if I sit at the back, at the half inner, that's the corner. Now I'm 6'2". As you can see, my feet aren't near the edge, and if I scroll over here, I'll give you an idea of how much space I've got in the vestibule. Haha! Right, go and sit over your wee bit where you normally go in there. No, you don't go in this half inner. Where's your wee stick? Go and get it. Now what you do as well, when you're open closing this, you don't just zip it, you're meant to buckle it first to take the strain off of the zipper. So you do up the buckle and then just zip it, put my arm around the pole, zip it right up. So when it's zipped up, this is how we're rocking. Now of course you can raise it and lower it for more airflow. So tons of space. So if I lie down, and if I put my head right at the top of the netting, that's how much space I've got at my feet. But yeah, really good. Now let's check out the Duplex. So I've unzipped this as well. So you can see, actually, if you look there, see the distance between there and there? That point and that point is the depth. So it's like half the tent, whereas this is just this amount. So here to here, whereas it's there to there. Another one. Don't know if that, you know, perspective and all that. So here we are in my trusty old Duplex. If I lie down, I've not even tied out these side points. So that would, you know, pull it further away. But even then, there's me lying with my head there, and that's where my feet are, and this is the amount of space we've got. So there's my feet. And then if you were to be sitting at the edge, just undo this toggle. So you clip it, and then you just grab this wee bit and pull it, and that's you. You can set this up as high or as low as you want. See how I've got it so that the bathtub floor is higher, so if it does rain it goes down and out, whereas you've still got plenty of ventilation here. You could bring this forward and shorten that and bring the full thing down. Again, look, you can see, so I've got it in quite a low side mode, whereas I've got this slightly higher now. It is a wee downhill. So if you're sitting at the edge here for vestibule space, this is what you've got. So enough space to put a bag, shoes, you know, you could cook kind of here and you'd be alright. But I've used this tent, this has had about 35 nights on it so far, 35 maybe last year. So let's talk about a couple of things, specs and such. So of course, to start off with, let's talk about cost. The Duplex costs this much, whereas the Duomid costs this much. The Duplex weighs this much by itself, the Duomid weighs this much, and with the half inner weighs this much. With the full inner weighs this much. So size wise, the Duplex is this big and the Duomid is this big. For speed of setup, the Duplex took 2.5 minutes, the Duomid took 2.5 minutes, but then a further 2 minutes to pitch the inner, the half inner. So usable space, well, I guess it depends what you're wanting to do with it. The Duplex has a lot more usable space. A standard that's protected from bugs and beasties, that's more encapsulated, and because it's got the big ridge top and it's got the flat side, it's got more usable space because it's not only got the floor area but it's also got the headroom, the usable headroom, so you can move about in the tent a lot more freely. The Duomid, on the other hand, if you had a full inner, would probably have the same, roughly the same floor space, but you wouldn't have the same usable headroom, and that does make a difference. Now in the winter, when it's leathering down and it's really stormy outside, you want a sort of tighter space anyway. You don't need a big space, because the more space, there's more area, there's more surface area in your tent to catch wind, rain, and just to take a leathering off anything like snow and such. So packability, the Duplex is really packable. It packs down into a small size, rolls up easily because it's all in one. It's nice and handy. The Duomid packs separately, so you've got the fly itself, which is really small, and then you've got the half inner. Weather wise, the Duplex is good for everything but winter, extreme winter conditions. Now I've seen it with the freestanding kit, buried under snow, so it's quite versatile that way. The DCF fibre is really strong, so it's got a really high wind shear resistance. If anything, it would probably be the seams and the stitching that it would rip at if it was put under severe wind load. But you know, unless you're going winter camping or you're wanting to camp at the top of mountains, you know, exposed mountain tops, the Duplex will do you fine. Now the Duomid fares just as well in the summer, and it's also a capable winter tent. With that narrower profile, it sheds wind, it sheds rain, and it sheds snow. It doesn't pile or push any sides as much because it's basically a pyramid design. It's got more guy out points, so it's going to fare well in harsher conditions than the Duplex will. Again, it's a payoff because you don't have as much usable space. Because it is modular, you can have it just a tarp only, you can have it just a fly only, you can have the half inner, you can have the full inner, you can have the fly and a bivy bag inside. It really depends on you as a user. What do you want? Because remember, we're talking about ultra lightweight tents here. So you're not pitching any of these on mountain peaks, because you know you've got the air gap underneath. Because they're single skins, it allows more airflow, keeps it more ventilated. You have to be more mindful with both these tents on where you pitch them. Camp selection is key with these tents, and if you're mindful of that, you'll get the best out of them. Like I said, this is my summer tent, this is my winter tent, or even depending on what I'm going to be doing or how I'm going to be using it. If I'm maybe going out camping in the summer and I know the trip's going to be soaking wet the entire time, I'm going to take the Duomid in that instance. If I know it's going to be really warm, I'll take the Duplex, because I can open up both those sides, and it's then just like two sides and there's airflow right through the thing, whereas you don't have that in the Duomid. It's only open at one side, so you've got 3 enclosed sides. So gear storage, one isn't better than the other. In the Duplex, you've got the vestibules either end, so you've got 2 vestibules. You know, they're relatively small, but enough for a couple of backpacks, boots and such. It's all you need really. Plenty of storage in that, plus you've got the big area. If it's just you and you get the Duomid, you've got loads of space for all your, you know, the stuff to unspill your backpack inside. So plenty of space for storage and usable space. On the Duomid, if you've got the half inner, or if you're using it as a fly, or even if you've got the full inner, you've got just as much space. It's just whether do you want inside or outside storage space. Storage space, it's not really apples for apples. Different setups for different needs. If you're going to be buying one of these tents, bear that in mind. What do you need storage wise? how do you want to store it and under what conditions. Is it snowing? Is it raining? Is it icy? Is it going to be sunny? Is it going to be loads of sand? You know, and if you're having to take off wet clothes, do you want to bring them into a tent like this? Or would you rather have a half inner and like a changing area and a storage area for wet or sandy stuff? It's really down to you as a user what you need from it. Now, both of these tents rely on walking poles to set up. I actually don't use any pole extenders with my Duomid. Lecky Kumba, is it? Slightly longer walking pole. Now, there are different options. You don't want to use the walking poles. The Duplex has a freestanding kit. It's crosses that go either side, and it enables it to be freestanding, so it doesn't rely on tension against the two walking poles by guy lines to actually keep it upright. Or like the Duomid, a pole up the middle, basically staked out the four corners and a pole in the middle, poking it up and keeping it. The Duomid, you can actually, there's a loop on the top, so if you're under a tree or something, you can tie a bit of rope on, fling it up and actually suspend the top, so it's almost like a canopy. So for how many people are these tents designed for? I would say they're classed as two-person tents, the Duomid and the Duplex. It's really a person and a half. It's a person, a dog, or a person and all your gear. Two people gear, it would be a tighter fit. You'd probably have to be in, you know, a bit of a relationship. Two people and gear and a dog, it wouldn't happen. Now, you've seen me setting these up, so for easy use, both of them are really easy to use. And it depends how you're setting it up. If you're wanting bug protection, you have to have the half inner or the full inner in the Duomid. So if you're using the half inner or the full inner, there's an extra step where you have to set that up. Then it's not as easy to use as the Duplex. If you're not bothered and you're using it as a tarp setup, then they're probably both just as easy to set up. Maybe even the Duomid's easier because you stake out the four corners and then you put a pole up in the middle. Whereas the Duplex, you're putting two poles up at the side and you're pulling to the side and you're having to tension it differently to get it set up. So easy use, similar but different depending on the configuration you're using. But I would say both of them are, once you've done it a few times and once you know how the tent sits in maybe inclines or lumps and you can square it up, there's a lot of adjustability in the guys. Both of them are easy to use. There's folk been camping there just going by and one of them's got a single mattress. Single mattress for camping. Pure ultra lightweight. Durability, both are as durable as each other. They're both made from DCF fibre, which is really tough. Like I said, wind shear resistance. I think it's stronger than, like, it's one of the strongest actual fibres, strands known to man, you know, like stronger than steel for its size to weight, etc. So that's pretty cool. Now you have to watch, you just have to be mindful, you can't just fling them about, stuff them in, scrape them over things. You're going to do them in. Anything that's lightweight or ultra lightweight, you do have to be more careful basically. So it's really strong for shear and tear resistance, but puncture and abrasion, they're not good for that. So don't be scraping it over rocks. Don't be like, watch what you're doing with your walking pole ends when you're going about, or anything in your bag, crampons if you've got them in there. You'll put a hole in them or you'll scrape a hole in them dead easy. They are durable if you're mindful of the strengths and weaknesses within the fabric itself. If you look after them, they're as durable as anything. Now you do get little repair kits in it. I can't remember about the Duomid if you get a repair kit with it, but with the Duplex you definitely do. You get like in the little pocket inside, there's a little repair kit there. So if you ever put a hole in the ground sheet or the fly, you can just tape it up with some Cuben Fibre and it's as good as new, so it is good that way. Whereas sil nylon, because it's really stretchy and just because of how it's made, you're not going to be able to repair the cheaper sil nylon as well as you are as the DCF Cuben Fibre. To my knowledge, don't quote me on that, there might be some sort of like flexible rubber glue that you can put on sil nylon that makes it just as good, but I certainly know that the Cuben Fibre patches work really well. So a big thing that people might not actually consider, but I really do, ticks and midges or mosquitoes, is bug resistance. How bug resistant are these tents? I would say that the Duplex is probably more bug resistant because you pitch it all in one with the netting all done up. When you pitch it, that's it, it's bug proof, you know, bugs can't get in from the outside as soon as you pitch it, and then you jump in and zip it up and that's it. Strangely, midges seem to always, the midges that are in the tent always seem to go to one corner and don't actually bother you when you're in the tent, bizarrely. I don't know why. Now the Duomid with either the full inner or the half inner is bug resistant in that setup, but then you're having to be inside the netting, plus you need to fit the half inner to the Duomid or the full inner to the Duomid to get that bug resistance. So I would definitely say the Duplex is more bug resistant. Now both of these are technically single skin tents, so double wall, single wall, you know, that's for a different discussion really. However, you can turn them into double skin tents. The Duplex, on these big flat sides, you can basically hook up like a mesh net. So it's not like a cocoon inside, it's like mesh that hangs off the flat ends. So when you're lying there, it's mesh there and mesh there to the vestibules anyway. The big flat panel in either side, top and bottom, you can hook up a mesh, so if there is condensation that runs down and doesn't keep running down and out and is going to drip down onto you, it'll then hit that mesh. So there's a retrofit kit to the Duplex that you can add for mesh to make it essentially a double wall tent. In the Duomid, when you fit the half inner or the full inner, it's then a proper double wall tent. To be honest with you, I've never had any problems with condensation in either of these tents. I've had condensation. Neither tent's one's better than the other. It's just how I use them. Because I use the Duomid in the winter, cold outside, slightly warmer inside, the moisture in your breath, hitting that, it's going to condense. It's just the way it is. It's neither tent. Both are single wall. Both of them handle moisture perfectly. I've never had any one of them drip on me. Not bothered about them being single skin at all. I don't have any worries. So to finish it off, the last thing I would really say is, do you even really need either of them? There is a bit of an ultra lightweight trap that we can fall into. Best of the best. More expensive, more lightweight, doesn't always necessarily mean better, because really the type of hiker you want to be, the environment that you're going to be hiking in, how quickly you want to hike, I guess, you know, and how light do you really need it to be, and what sort of use do you want to get out of it. If you're wanting to go, you know, camp at the top of Monroe's, like the top of mountains, unless it's in really still good weather conditions, then you're maybe better with a bomber tent. It's going to be heavier, but you're going to be able to put it out in crazy winds and such. I would say get these tents if you're solely focusing on through hiking or doing long distance hikes where you're hiking, you know, 15, 20 plus mile days where weight is then becomes really crucial. And a multi-day trip, that's when to consider these tents. See if you're someone that's going out, you're walking 5 miles, you're camping for a night, maybe 2 nights, and then you're coming back. I don't think it's really worth the money. If you're going to be that type of hiker, backpacker, camper, then you'd probably be better off with another tent, a cheaper tent, and invested in more camp gear or something like that. These are specialist tents designed for very specific purposes. Now, they can be used all purpose, but you're not going to take either of these to a festival. If you're going to a campsite, do you really need either of these? Because, you know, are you walking that far to a campsite? Really be honest with yourself and really think, do I really need the weight saving? That's what it comes down to. Both these tents are both about being as light as possible as they can be for the uses that they're designed to be used for. As you've seen, this is big and airy, loads of space. It's going to be a crack summer tent. As you can see, the design of this, how modular it is, the tie out points, it's going to be better for worse weather conditions, but both of them are still ultra lightweight tents. And of course there's sacrifices that you have to make to gain the reduction in weight. Think to yourself, is weight that important to you that you're going to sacrifice other perks that you might get with other tents? You're basically looking for the biggest bang for your buck at the end of the day, and you're looking for something that's fit for purpose for you.